Greetings and salutations. My name is Michael Schwahn, and welcome to the channel. We have some more reaction content for you, and today we are checking out Resident Evil 4, the reveal trailer of the remake. You know, it's interesting to me that Capcom just has decided that they're just going to remake all of the Resident Evils. Is that just what we're getting now? You're fine, Napalm. Is that just what we're getting now? Is that what's just going to happen? Are they going to catch up to themselves? Because these remakes are coming out pretty quick, right? Compared to like Resident Evil 7 and 8. Like, I feel like we've gotten Resident Evil 3, 2, 3, and 4. Like, boom, 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 pow. Also, genuine question. Genuine question. Are they going to remake Resident Evil 5? Because while I know there's a lot of people that greatly dislike that game, I will admit, I greatly enjoy that game. Is it a good Resident Evil game? Fuck no. Is it a good game? Yeah, I think it is. It's a lot of fun to play. I think it's actually a really solid game. Did I just split my lip? I think I did. It's a good day. It's a good day. Things are going so well. Anyway, but of course, Resident Evil 4, I think largely is the most popular Resident Evil game that exists. It's been on everything. They ported it to every single console and more. They made a VR version of it. Everyone knows the Ashley memes, Ashley getting the dumpster, all of that stuff, right? So this is the one that I think most people have been curious about in terms of what we can expect for it, because it's the largest one. Not necessarily in scale or scope, because I think the remakes of Resident Evil 2 and 3 were larger ventures, because you're taking that older gameplay style and bringing it to a more modern gameplay style, just with kind of an overhaul, kind of like looking at like the Final Fantasy VII remake, where it's so, like, it was a larger endeavor to complete and to finish, compared to something like the Last of Us Part 1 remake, which is still beautiful. I still think it's a really good, like, product, but what you're trying to do and trying to accomplish are very, very different things. And so, with Resident Evil 4, this is the first one of these that it's not that way, right? Where you're like, okay, Resident Evil 4 was new enough that you are now not completely starting from scratch when it comes to the product that you are remaking. So I don't know what this has in it. I've heard a couple of things, but I've not seen it. So let's go. What are you buying? What are you selling? Not enough cash. I'll buy that for a high price. Arr! It's a hell of a trailer, guys.
Condor Wonder Roost. I've located Baby Eagle.
There you go. No? That's it? Ashley! Ashley, where are you going? Resident Evil 4 is goofy as hell. That's why we love it. Because it's goofy.
Guess you, me, picked the wrong spot to vacation, eh?
Los Plagas.
You will receive our most sacred body. It begins now.
Okay. Oh, there's still a little bit more.
If I could just forget what happened that night. The pain. Even for a second. This time, it can be different. It has to.
You know, one of the other interesting things I think about going into Resident Evil 4 as a remake with that last bit that they just talked about, right? Of like this time, Leon talking about this time it has to be different, is that Resident Evil 2, the original one, I never played, right? But now that we have Resident Evil 2 Remake and Resident Evil 3 Remake, we're starting to be able to have a more cohesive timeline for Resident Evil, at least the base mainline games. And Leon, of course, in Resident Evil 2, it's his first day on the job, right? And like he got caught up in a horrible atrocity. And none of that is really ever referenced or talked about at all in the original release of Resident Evil 4. There's a couple little nods to it, but it never really seems to have any weight. And Leon doesn't seem to have a whole lot of a trauma, I guess is the word that I'll use, any type of self-reflection or anything like that. And that actually, what they just showed off of him saying it's got to be different this time, actually gives me more hype for this game than I would have had otherwise, because I think we'll see a larger amount of depth in characters, all of them, because like we saw Ada Wong there, right? And Ada Wong also from the past remakes we get more of these characters in a different light, and I'm really curious if we'll actually get to, if they'll expand Resident Evil 4 and let us play as Ada. They might not, but I would like to see it. But regardless of that, it does make me interested to see with this game what they will change from 4 to 4 Remake. Because when it comes to these remakes, most of the time with these bigger companies, they're not wanting to literally just go one for one. They want to take it, adapt it to a modern gameplay standard, and then also modernize it in which ways they can. And I think that that's a good thing. I don't believe they should just make one-to-one remakes. I don't think it's healthy from a creative standpoint. I don't think it's healthy from a design standpoint. But it makes me more interested and intrigued of what we might see in terms of character and story progression and development in Resident Evil 4 Remake compared to what we had in the original one. So there's a developer overview. It's only a couple minutes long, so let's see what they have to say.
And I'm Yoshiaki Hirabayashi, producer of Resident Evil 4. This title is a reimagining of Resident Evil 4, based on the original 2005 release. Similar to other titles in the series, we are carefully preserving what makes the original title special.
It better be a short, angry man
for everyone to enjoy when it launches in 2023. Today, we'll reintroduce a bit of the game's story.
Resident Evil 4 is set 6 years after the events in Raccoon City, depicted in Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. The main character of the game, Leon S. Kennedy, survived the Raccoon City incident and was assigned as an agent directly under the President of the United States. Leon is dispatched to a quiet village in Europe as part of a mission to rescue the kidnapped daughter of the President. You might notice Leon is much more mature and fearless due to his past experiences.
Yeah, okay. So mature.
The Ganado, the main enemies of this game, wait for him. The experience of being attacked by hordes of crazed Ganado is truly an iconic moment from Resident Evil.
Yeah, the first village is awful.
To truly bring out the concept of terror of people controlled by madness, the Ganado have been completely redesigned.
Let's take a closer look at the game itself.
What do you mean by redesigned?
The over-the-shoulder camera returns, of course.
Of course.
Leon arrives at a dense and dangerous forest. We want to nail the feeling of loneliness and fear of not knowing what lies ahead, even more so than the original. Of course. There will also be thrilling battles. People that played the recent Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 should find this familiar. Look forward to future announcements, where we'll have more information on the game.
Maybe that's what we'll do in October, is play through them.
It's being developed for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Series S, and PC. The release date will be March 24th, 2023.
How does Capcom do with release dates?
We are aiming to create a Resident Evil 4 that everyone can enjoy, so please look forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No Game Pass, though. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that it's not on Game Pass. It's not a game that I would have expected to be on Game Pass. I don't think... are the other ones have touched Game Pass yet? I don't think that they have, but I don't think that Capcom is interested in putting them on Game Pass because they're selling really well anyway. Capcom is just making money hand over fist. And I'll say I'm glad that Capcom is making money hand over fist just because they're making money by just making good games, right? Games like the Resident Evil series, Resident Evil 2 and 3 Remake, now Resident Evil 4 Remake, Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 7, they're all games that are just games, right? Now, whether you think they're good or not, that's completely up to you. That's a very subjective thing. But the thing is that they're not selling you infinite amounts of microtransactions. They're not freemium games that are trying to nickel and dime you with gacha systems. We can also look at a different franchise, Monster Hunter World. It had one expansion, which was Iceborne, and it was really, really good, sold shitloads. It put Monster Hunter on a global platform, whereas before it was still very, very niche. And then we immediately saw them go into Monster Hunter Rise, which initially launched exclusively on the Switch. A year later, or however long it was, came out onto PC, had an absolutely incredible release both times, sold tons, and then they released a singular expansion, Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, which is also just selling all over the place. They're making tons of money by just making good video games. Right? Street Fighter. Okay, actually, they have a... hold on. Rewind. They have a horrible track record with how the fuck they sell Street Fighter, okay? But that said, Street Fighter 6 looks pretty good. But Capcom is just making games and making good games and selling lots of them, which is cool. I'm happy about that, and I hope that they continue to do this. If anything, to hopefully show some other companies that you can make lots and lots of money by doing this. It would be great. I would appreciate it. So, you know, all the same, this looks cool. I really want to see more of it. I'm curious if I'm mostly curious about what they said about that the Ganado have been completely redesigned, because I don't know what that means, right? It makes me worried that they don't have bug heads to where you're like, I shot his head off and then comes out, you know? Maybe, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. It's actually not that far away. It's only like 6 months out. That's pretty soon. So regardless of what they end up deciding with how they're going to do the Ganado, I really hope that it's still true to the original in some way. So maybe it comes out from anywhere you shoot them now instead. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. A lot of those assets look straight up ripped out of Village. Smart game development. Don't have that opinion on the internet, Napalm. Be careful, because you will be like drawn and quartered. Because even though, yes, video games constantly reuse assets, that is smart game development, as you said. For some reason, the internet doesn't think that that's how that things should go or things should be. And so, you know, I don't know what they think is going on, but yeah, so, you know, but you're right. They probably did reuse some assets from Village. I apologize for messing with the camera so much. I took off my slippers and my feet because my feet were getting too hot, and then I was like, shit, now I'm too short. I apologize. Anyway, Resident Evil 4. That looks cool. I am very excited for it. Of all the Resident Evil games, Resident Evil 4 is the one that holds closest to me, and I'm excited to play it with the modern touches 18 years later, and having all of the beautiful ability of what modern game development is. It should be really, really sick, although I need to properly play through RE2 and 3 Remake. Like I said, maybe in October. Maybe we'll do that as part of the what is it called? Halloween. I'm good with words. What do you think, though? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Where are you sitting on Resident Evil? Do you like what they've been doing with the remakes, Resident Evil 2 and 3? What else would you like to see them do in the remakes? How would you feel about a Resident Evil 5 remake? How are you sitting with Resident Evil 7 and 8? And where do those sit for you? I would love to hear from you. Please leave your thoughts down in the comments below. If you want to keep the conversation elsewhere, two great places to do so are Discord and Twitter. And speaking of Discord, we have a channel dedicated to these reactions where you can place links of your own that we can check out together live on stream, because we do stream 4 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, and I would love to see you there. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. If you want to catch future videos, please subscribe to the channel. And if you do go watch one of the other videos on the channel, or if I see you in the live stream, thank you and enjoy.